The night was supposed to end in laughter, with champagne glasses raised high, with Zara's smile so wide it erased every scar of the past. With Dae-jin on one knee, a velvet box open, promising forever. Instead, it ended with a crack that split the air like lightning. The sound shattered the moment, leaving their smiles frozen as the world broke apart. One heartbeat, two. Then Dae-jin fell, the ring slipping from his hand and clattering on the rock. Dae-jin! Zara dropped to her knees, pressing her hands against the sudden bloom of blood spreading across his shirt. It was warm, too warm, and spreading fast. Another shot rang out. This one hit a stone. Someone shouted an order. Tires screeched. Whoever fired was gone before she could even lift her head. "Stay with me?" Zara begged, her voice breaking as she pressed harder on the wound. Her hands were slick with his blood, her fingers shaking. "Don't you dare leave me." Dae-jin's eyes fluttered. His lips parted like he wanted to speak, but only blood bubbled at the corner of his mouth. His hand twitched, searching blindly, until she caught it and held it to her chest. Her fiancé, her enemy-turned ally, the father of her child. Her whole world was bleeding out in her arms. The ambulance doors slammed, swallowing him. Zara climbed inside, refusing to let go of his hand. The sirens wailed, red lights flashing across her face as the city blurred past. Zara held tighter. "Dae-jin, listen to me. You are not allowed to die. Do you hear me?" His eyelids fluttered. For a moment, his weak, cloudy gaze found hers. A faint smile touched his lips, then darkness claimed him. Her chest seized. The monitors screamed. Medics shouted codes, trying to pump life back into him. Zara pressed herself against the wall of the ambulance, arms wrapped around her, stomach around the fragile life growing inside her. She couldn't lose them both. She wouldn't. At the hospital, everything blurred. White lights, rushing nurses, doors slamming in her face. Zara was left in the hallway, alone, blood still drying on her hands. Her body trembled, not from fear, but from fury. Whoever fired that shot hadn't just tried to kill Dae-jin. They had tried to destroy everything she had fought for, every ounce of justice, every piece of healing, every fragile thread of hope. They had declared war, and Zara Okoye had no intention of losing. She wiped her bloody hands on her ruined dress, lifted her chin, and stared at the red light above the operating room door. "Survive," she whispered, her voice steady now, sharpened by fire. "Survive, and I'll finish what we started. Together." The hospital corridor stretched endlessly, all white walls and fluorescent lights. Zara sat, hunched in a chair outside the ICU, her hands clenched tightly. Time didn't matter anymore as hours passed by. When the doors finally opened, Zara's head snapped up. A man in surgical scrubs stepped out, his mask hanging from one ear, exhaustion etched into his face. She stood on shaky legs, steadying herself against the wall. "Tell me he's alive." Her voice broke halfway through. The surgeon nodded. Relief hit her so hard her knees almost gave out. She gripped the wall tighter. "He made it through surgery," the doctor said gently. "But the bullet grazed an artery. He lost a lot of blood. He's stable, but he's in a coma. We don't know how long he'll stay that way." The hallway spun, but she forced herself upright. "He'll wake," she said, her voice firm, steel over breaking. "He has to." The doctor paused, as if wanting to say more, then simply nodded and walked away, leaving her alone with the humming lights. Inside the ICU, machines beeped steadily. The air smelled of antiseptic and something metallic, like old coins. Dae-jin lay pale against the sheets, tubes in his arms, a ventilator hissing beside him. Zara sank into the chair beside him, her chest tightening. He looked nothing like the man who had stood so tall a few nights ago. Now he was silent, his strength swallowed by stillness. Her fingers hovered before she finally took his hand, careful not to disturb the wires taped to his skin. His palm was warm. That small warmth was enough to keep her breathing. "You're not leaving me like this?" she whispered, leaning forward. You didn't fight your way out of the shadows just to die in one. Her throat closed, but she held back the tears. She had promised herself long ago never to break in front of enemies. And right now, the world is full of enemies. 2 days blurred in a haze of waiting. She barely ate. She barely slept. Nurses came and went, their gentle words sliding off her like rain. Outside, the news spiraled out of control. Headlines screamed across every channel. Han syndicate strategist Seo Daejin shot at private gathering. Foreign woman at his side. Coincidence or conspiracy? They plastered her face everywhere, her grief frozen in mid-frame. Commentators speculated. Had she brought him down? Or was she his weakness? Inside the hospital, whispers trailed her. That's her, people murmured, casting glances as she walked by. The Nigerian woman, the one who framed him, the one who brought down Sango. Maybe she pulled the trigger herself. She ignored them. She had learned long ago that words couldn't kill her unless she let them. On the second night, the door creaked open. Zara looked up, ready to snap, but the man who entered wasn't a nurse. He was tall, shoulders sharp under a black jacket with the silence of someone who'd spent a lifetime guarding doors. Miss Okoye, he said with a slight bow. I was one of Mr. Seo's men. I came to give you news. Her hand tightened around Daejin's. Go on. We've secured the hospital. No one will touch him here. His eyes flicked to Daejin before, returning to her. But outside, there are whispers. Jihun Han says you are a curse. He claims the child you carry will never be born. Zara froze. Her hand moved to her stomach protectively. How does he know? The guard hesitated. Someone close is leaking information. The words cut like cold steel. Betrayal was never far in this world, but hearing it aloud made her skin prickle. She looked at Daejin's pale figure, then back at the guard. Our priority is finding who did this and making sure they never forget the lesson. He bowed. I'm on it, ma'am. Seoul glittered beyond the tinted car windows, restless even at midnight. Zara leaned her head against the glass, exhaustion dragging at her, but her mind refused to quiet. Every neon flash pulled her back to Daejin's blood on her hands. The gunshot, their future torn apart in a heartbeat. The driver glanced at her in the rearview mirror. He claimed to be one of Daejin's trusted lieutenants. Maybe he was, maybe not. In this world, trust was thinner than smoke. He kept his eyes on the road. The car slowed down a narrow street in Gangnam, past shuttered boutiques and glowing signs, until they reached a private house behind steel gates. Miss Okoye, the driver said, bowing. Everything is prepared. You'll be safe here. Zara nodded and dismissed him. When the door clicked shut, silence wrapped around her. She sank onto the couch, staring at the shadows stretching across the floor. For the first time since the shooting, her resolve wavered. Fear pressed in. She was pregnant, alone. The man she had hated, then loved, lay silent in a hospital bed. Outside, enemies whispered of erasing her. Her breath caught. She pressed both hands to her stomach, eyes closing. You're not just mine anymore. You're ours. I can't let them win. A phone buzzed. She opened her eyes to see a burner on the table, screen flashing with an encrypted message. She hesitated, then unlocked it. He's watching you. Zara's pulse stumbled. She typed fast. Who is this? No reply came. 2 days later, the first visitor came. Zara was pouring tea when the door opened without warning. She spun, tense, but the figure who entered carried no weapon. Jihun Han. His presence filled the room before he spoke. Navy suit perfectly cut, hair slicked back, expression calm yet edged with cruelty. He looked like a prince carved from marble, and a wolf who had already chosen his prey. Miss Okoye, he said smoothly, stepping inside. Or shall I call you Mrs. Seo already? His eyes flicked to her stomach, sharp as glass. Zara straightened. You're not welcome here. He smiled faintly, amused by her defiance. I didn't come for a welcome. I came for a warning. Then say it and leave. Jihun circled the room, running a finger along the table as if it already belonged to him. "My cousin," he said at last. "Co Dae-jin. Brilliant. Loyal. Foolish. He thought he could change our family's rules. He thought he could fall in love with you." The venom in his voice tightened her stomach. "He did love me," Zara said evenly. Jihoon's smile sharpened. "And now he lies half dead because of it." His gaze dropped, deliberately to her stomach. "You carry a stain on the Han bloodline. That child will never live." Her heart lurched, fury cutting through fear. She stepped closer, chin high. "Touch me, and I'll burn everything you own to the ground." Jihoon chuckled low. "Fire suits you, but fire consumes its wielder too." He leaned close, his voice dropping to a whisper. "Someone near you already feeds me information. Every move you make, I'll know. You cannot protect what's inside you." Then he turned and walked out, smoothly, as if he owned the air she breathed. Silence pressed against her chest. Zara gripped the table, pulse hammering. Someone she trusted was betraying her, giving Jihoon details about her child. Her hand trembled against her stomach. "I won't let you take us," she whispered. "I don't care if it's your bloodline or mine. I will fight." That night, Zara couldn't sleep. She sat by the window, the city glittering below, shadows shifting beyond the gates. Jihoon's words echoed. "A stain. Betrayal. The child will never live." Her phone buzzed. Same encrypted number. "He is closer than you think." Zara stared at the message, her reflection pale in the glass. She wanted to throw the phone, to ignore it, but she couldn't. The next morning, Zara went to see Dae-jin. The hospital was colder now, its halls buzzing with reporters. Guards pushed them aside to let her pass. Inside, machines hummed, keeping him alive. She sat beside him and slipped her hand into his. "Jihoon came," she whispered. "He called our child a stain. He swore he'd erase us." Her voice shook, but anger steadied it. "I won't let him. I swear it to you. Both of you." Her palm pressed over her stomach. For the first time, she felt it. A flutter, a spark of life. Tears filled her eyes. She leaned close, lips by his ear. "Your child's heart is beating. Fight your way back to us. Please." His fingers twitched as her heart sank. She kissed his forehead and closed her eyes, praying and hoping that he would recover faster. The city hadn't slept since the shooting. Zara felt it in the air. Restless, electric, like a storm over Seoul's glass towers. Everywhere she went, eyes followed. Cameras flashed. Reporters shouted her name. She wasn't just a grieving woman anymore. She was a target. By the third night, her Gangnam safe house felt like a cage. She paced the living room as rain tapped against the windows. Her guards whispered near the door, fragments drifting to her. "Leak, watching us. Orders from higher up." Her phone buzzed. Another encrypted message. "Leave now. They're coming." Her pulse jumped. She looked at the guards. If Jihoon had a spy, it could be them. Her hand tightened over her stomach. The lights flickered. Then gunfire. Glass shattered. Bullets tore through the windows, splintering the coffee table. Her guards fired back, shouting through the chaos. "Out the back!" one yelled. Zara ran, breath ragged, hands trembling. She twisted the back door lock and stumbled into the rain-soaked alley. Shadows darted. Footsteps pounded behind her. A man lunged. She ducked and slammed her elbow into his ribs. He staggered, and she kept running, lungs burning, stomach clenching. A black van screeched around the corner, headlights blinding. Trap. The door flew open. A voice shouted, "Zara! Get in!" Not one of Dae-jin's men. But the desperation in his eyes made her pause only a heartbeat. A gunshot cracked behind her. She dove inside. The door slammed. The van roared into the storm. Her rescuer gripped the wheel, knuckling white. "You don't know me," he said in rough Korean. "But I knew Kalechi. He saved my life once." Zara stared, chest heaving. He wasn't lying. She could see it. "Who are you?" she asked. "Kim Jun," he said. If you want to survive, trust me. Zara pressed a hand to her stomach as lightning split the soul sky. Trust. The word cut like a blade. Zara sat in a dingy hideout above a mechanic's garage, the hum of engines below masking their presence. June worked at the table, cleaning his pistol with steady hands. She paced, floorboards creaking under her bare feet. Sleep was impossible. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the muzzle flash, felt the glass cut her skin. At the window, she stared at the neon-lit street. Her reflection looked back. Haunted eyes, drawn face, hair pulled back in haste. Her palm pressed against her belly. "You're not safe anywhere," she whispered. Behind her, June spoke without looking up. "The leak is in Daejin's circle. Someone close sold you out. That's how Jihun knew about the child. That's how they found the safe house." Zara turned, fury flashing. "Which one? Who else?" "He calls himself Daejin's lieutenant. He deceived you and you fell for it." Her throat tightened, as she could believe that she just got fooled by that man. The betrayal cut deeper than the bullets. The next day, Zara slipped into the hospital in disguise. A scarf hid her hair, oversized glasses, and her face. Outside, the press still swarmed, hungry for the widow who wasn't yet a widow. Inside Daejin's room, the machines hummed steadily. She sank into the chair beside him, trembling as she took his hand. "They tried to kill us," she whispered, "and one of your own helped them." Her voice cracked, grief and anger twisting together. "I don't know who to trust anymore." Her thumb brushed his knuckles. "But I trust you, even like this." Silence wrapped the room. Then his fingers twitched. Her eyes flew open. She leaned forward, heart racing. His lips parted, a faint sound escaping. One word. "Jihun." Then his hand went slack, the machines indifferent. Zara's breath shuddered. It wasn't much, but it was proof. Proof he was fighting. Proof Jihun was the key. And proof she wasn't alone. By the time she left, dawn broke over Seoul. Mist curled between glass towers, streets glowing with early light. She walked quickly, head down, her mind a storm. Daejin had spoken. One word. Jihun. She replayed it again and again, clinging to it like a rope in dark water. He was still there, trying to reach her. Back at the garage, June looked up when she entered. "You saw him?" Zara nodded, pulling off her scarf. "He spoke." His eyes widened. "What did he say?" "One word. Jihun." June leaned back, exhaling sharply. "Then he knows who pulled the trigger." Zara dropped into a chair, rubbing her temples. "Jihun isn't just after me. He wants to erase Daejin completely. The child is just an excuse." June's expression hardened. "Then we don't hide. We strike." She looked at him. He spoke with conviction, but he didn't carry the weight of a child inside him. She did. Every choice now carried 2 lives. "I won't be reckless," she said. "You won't have to." He slid a folder across the table, photos, notes, maps of ports and warehouses. "Jihun's network. I've tracked it since before Kalechi died. He isn't alone. He has allies outside Korea." Zara's heart stuttered. "How do you have this?" His jaw tightened. "Because I used to work for them." Silence filled the room. Zara stared, anger flaring. "And you expect me to trust you? I walked away because of your brother. He saved me from being their dog. If you want revenge, if you want that child safe, you'll need me." Her hand moved to her stomach. The baby stirred. A small flutter, a reminder. Zara exhaled. "Fine. We do this together. But the moment you give me reason to doubt you, I'll finish what they started." For the first time, June smiled faintly. "Fair." She closed the folder, resolve hardening. Daejin had sent her a message from the edge of death. Jihun thought she was beaten. The syndicate thought she was cornered. The rain hadn't stopped in 3 days. Seoul wore it like a shroud, streets slick, alleys buzzing with rumor. Zara sat in the back of a dim Itaewon cafe, scarf pulled low, the bitter taste of burnt espresso on her tongue. Across from her, June spread photos across the table. Ports, diplomatic seals. Men in suits whose smiles never reached their eyes. "This isn't just Jihoon," he said quietly. "He's part of something bigger. These shipments don't stop at Busan. They reach Lagos, Lisbon, Dubai. He's tied into an international web." Zara scanned the photos. One face froze her breath. Dark eyes. Familiar. Her fingers trembled as she touched it. "Kelechi circled this name in his journal," she whispered. "He knew." June nodded grimly. "And they killed him for it." Her pulse hammered. She had thought the war ended with Park Sang-go. That Jihoon was the last wolf in the dark. "What do they want from me?" she asked flatly. "Not want," June said. "Fear. You're a symbol, the woman who dragged Sang-go into the light, who stood beside Daejin and lived. If you survive, others will believe they can fight too." Zara leaned back, chest tight. Her hand drifted to her stomach, to the quiet flutter beneath. Her child didn't know it yet, but enemies waited across oceans. She clenched her jaw. "Then I'll cut every thread until their web falls apart." June's gaze flickered, half respect, half warning. "That path is dangerous." "So is living," she said, gathering the photos. "I don't know why, but there's only one person in my mind who was responsible for the shooting of Daejin," he said as she raised her head up. "Sang-go." Her jaw dropped. "That can't be possible, he is in jail," he scoffed. "Well, we will see." Zara's world cracked when she learned her foundation's sole office had been raided. The Kelechi Foundation had grown fast. Shelters, hotlines, legal aid for trafficking victims. It gave her purpose after Sang-go's fall. Now it was collapsing. Police stormed in, hauling away boxes of files, grilling staff under harsh lights. Cameras caught everything. Headlines spun the story. "Nonprofit tied to Mafia strategist's mistress under investigation." Zara stood on the steps, reporters shoving microphones at her, flashes blinding her. "They want me silent," she said, voice steady. "But I will not be silenced. This foundation bears my brother's name. I will not let them kill him twice." The crowd roared, some jeers, some applause. Inside, her heart shook. The baby kicked, sharp and insistent, reminding her she carried not only memory, but future. Jihoon's war wasn't just against her. It was against her child. She pressed a hand to her belly, her expression hardening. "If they come for you," she whispered, "they'll learn what a mother's wrath feels like." The world she fought was not built on loyalty, but on deals whispered in the dark. Zara knew that more than ever. That night, Zara stood on the balcony, the river glimmering like broken glass. The baby shifted beneath her ribs, restless. She pressed a hand to her stomach and breathed in the cool air. She was changing. She had come to Seoul chasing justice, her heart heavy with grief. Now she stood at the edge of a bloodline war, learning to wield power like a blade. And she wondered how much of herself would survive. Behind her, June stepped out. "You did well," he said. Zara didn't turn. "I don't know if that's comfort." "War doesn't care about comfort," June replied. "It cares about survivors. And you're becoming one." Her eyes closed briefly. Then she faced the river again, jaw tight. "Not just a survivor," she said. "A conqueror." The storm came at night. She had felt it building for days. The uneasy streets, the phones gone silent, shadows lingering outside the compound. Sleep never came. Her body ached, her belly heavy. Then the first shot shattered the glass doors. "Down!" June shouted, dragging her behind the marble counter as bullets sprayed the room. Guards scrambled, gunfire echoing through the halls. Zara clutched her stomach, heart racing. Pain ripped through her abdomen, sudden and sharp. She gasped. "June!" His eyes snapped to her, wide with realization. "Not now," he hissed. But another contraction seized her, her cry lost in the chaos. The syndicate had chosen well. While her body turned against her, they came to kill. June fired back through the smoke, covering the guards at the gates. "We have to move her." Two men rushed to help, but Zara waved them off, teeth gritted. "No, Daejin's office," she panted. "Safe room." June cursed but nodded. Together they half-carried her down the hall, every step tearing with contractions. The safe room was a steel chamber hidden behind sliding panels. Inside, the air was heavy, windowless. Zara collapsed onto the padded bench, skin slick with sweat. "They're breaking through the gates," June reported, tense. Zara gripped his arm, nails digging in. "Then let them. I'll give life while they deal death." Her body bore down, primal and unstoppable. Screams ripped from her throat, echoing off steel walls. June paced, gun in hand, as battle thundered outside. Minutes bled into hours. Fire and chaos raged beyond, but inside another world broke open. Then crying. A thin, fierce wail cutting through the dark. Zara collapsed back, tears streaking her face as the child was laid on her chest. Warm, small, alive. Her heart broke and rebuilt in the same breath. "A boy," she whispered, voice raw. "You have a son." The steel door shook under impact, but she didn't flinch. She held her child tighter, kissed his damp forehead. "Come for me if you dare," she whispered to the men battering the gates. "I have something worth killing for now." The siege ended at dawn. Jehun's men retreated, leaving smoke and blood behind. The compound lay half destroyed, walls torn with bullet holes. But Zara's child lived, and so did she. 2 days later, exhausted, she returned to the hospital with her son swaddled in her arms. The ICU was quiet, machines humming their steady lullaby. Daejin lay unmoving, locked in silence. She sank into the chair, body aching from birth but gaze fierce. Gently, she pressed the baby's hand into Daejin's larger one. "Your son," she whispered. "He came into this world screaming, and he already has your stubbornness." First nothing. Then his fingers twitched. Her breath caught. She leaned forward. "Daejin." His eyelids fluttered. Slow, heavy, then open. The machines quickened. Nurses rushed in, but Zara barely noticed. Daejin's gaze found hers. Hazy, struggling, but alive. Then it dropped to the child in her arms. A child. His voice was sandpaper. Zara nodded, tears spilling. "Your son." He closed his eyes, breathing ragged. But when he opened them again, something had changed. The weakness was gone. The fire she remembered burned back into his stare. "Jehun," he rasped. "Yes," Zara whispered, gripping his hand. "He tried to erase us, but we're still here." Daejin's jaw tightened. Slowly, painfully, he pushed himself upright. The machines protested. Nurses tried to hold him down, but he shook them off with sudden strength. "I've slept long enough," he said. His voice was hoarse, but steel cut through it, silencing the room. He looked at Zara, then at their son. "It's time I take back what's mine." Zara's chest tightened, relief, terror, love all colliding. She pressed the baby close, her eyes locked on Daejin. He was back, and more dangerous than ever. But bad news hit them before they strike. Sango was dead. "What?" Zara exclaimed. "The only person responsible for this is Jehun," Daejin said with his fists clenched. The final confrontation came weeks later, in the heart of the syndicate's ancestral estate. Daejin stood with Zara at the gates, his body still healing but his presence unshakable. At his side, loyal men armed to the teeth. Behind them, allies Zara had gathered in secret. The fractured underworld had chosen its side. Inside, Jehun waited. The hall blazed with gold and shadow. Beneath the family crest, he smiled sharp as a blade. "So the prodigal son returns," Jehun said. His gaze slid to Zara, then to the child in her arms. "And he brings his stain with him." Daejin's reply thundered through the hall. "Not a stain, a legacy." They circled, words cutting like knives. But speeches ended quickly. Guns roared. Blades clashed. Chaos swallowed the hall. Zara moved with precision, her child shielded as allies fought around her. Then she unleashed the files she had gathered. Screens lit up across the hall. Evidence of Jehun's crimes streamed live to every authority. His empire collapsed in real time, You think you'll bury me with papers? Jehun spat, lunging with a blade. Daejin met him head-on. Their fight was raw, years of rage and betrayal forged into steel. Blood slicked the floor as cousin clashed with cousin. At last, Daejin drove Jehun to his knees. His blade hovered at his throat. Jehun laughed, blood on his teeth. Kill me, but you think it ends here? You have no idea what's coming. Daejin glanced at Zara, then at their son. His grip tightened. No, he said. It ends with us. The strike was clean. Final. Jehun crumpled. Silence filled the hall. The syndicate was finished. Zara stepped beside Daejin, their child nestled between them. Smoke curled through the ruined estate, but outside, dawn was breaking. You're free now, she whispered. Daejin looked at her, his eyes softer than she had ever seen. No, he said. We're free. The baby stirred, letting out a small cry, as if sealing the moment. Zara laughed through her tears. They had been forged in fire, but now, from the ashes, they would rise. Together.
Hi viewers. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, like, share and comment, for more captivating folktales and unforgettable stories.